Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP Battlemaster fighter build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Now the Battlemaster is by far, I would say, the best version of the fighter, and I'm going to show you a very powerful build that can help you beat the game. So we're going to start off here as the fighter, obviously, and for our fighting style, there's a couple ways we can go about doing this. Great weapon fighting will just flat out add a great amount of damage to our build, so when you roll a 1 or 2 damage die for an attack with a two-handed melee weapon, that die is rerolled once. So this, if you're just rolling low damage, you're going to roll higher amounts frequently, so that's a really good one. We are going to be using two-handed weapons for this build. I have the Baldur Giant Slayer here, which is the best sword in the game, but yeah, you can go about any two-handed sword for this game. The fighter is probably, I would say, the best two-handed weapon user. The paladin's pretty good, but even a sword and board version, that's pretty powerful. Defense will give us a +1 to armor class though, so that's another really great option. So you can go with the great weapon fighting, or you can go with the defense. It's entirely up to you if you want to be more defensive focused or offensive focused. I would prefer the great weapon fighting, but I'm going to leave it on defense for this build. Now, this is where things get kind of interesting, because we can go a few different ways with our ability score. So, ideally, you would have something like this. Strength at 16, Dexterity 14, Constitution 16, and then we're going to leave the Wisdom at 12, and I'll get into why. You'll see how this all comes together. So, keeping our Strength high is nice. We want to focus primarily on our Strength for our damage rolls and attack rolls. And you can also use strength potions, but I'm not going to focus on that for this build. And it is an option. You can just dump your strength altogether if you wanted to and just rely on potions or the gauntlets, but I think that it's better to go another way with this. So, level 2, we get Action Surge. Pretty straightforward. That's a very bread and butter skill that the fighter has the ability to go again, get another action. So, very, very useful. We're going to go with the Battlemaster, obviously, that's the point of this video. Now, for the first few battle maneuvers that we want to get, I would say Riposte is the best. So, whenever an attack misses you, you can spend a die to get another attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage. This is by far the best because you're going to get attacked. It's part of the game. If you're able to retaliate and add the superiority die, which will increase to 1d10 later on, that's fantastic. So, it gets us a free attack that we wouldn't normally get. Now, Menacing Attack is another really great one. So, spend a superior die to deal increased damage and possibly frighten the target. So, Frightened literally takes the opponent out of combat for that turn. So, extremely useful if you can get that to land. And I got a piece of armor here that's going to increase the chance that that will land. So, that makes it even better. Now, there's a few other ones that can be really good. Disarming Strike can make them drop their weapon, so that can also just immobilize them because you'll pick up their weapon. There you go. You got a useless enemy once they just don't have a weapon to attack with. Trip Attack can be decent too. I think Trip Attack is what I would choose here because making a target go prone is fantastic. It allows your teammates to deal extra damage to them and have higher attack rolls. So it's either Disarming Attack or Trip Attack. Both of these work fantastic. I'm just going to take Trip Attack here. We do get some more battle maneuvers later on. So at level 4, this is one of our 4 feats that we can potentially get if we don't add in a multi-class. And it's pretty straightforward what you want. Strength up to 18. It's the best way about dealing more damage and having higher attack rolls. So that's what we're going to go with there. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. High strength is important. Level 5, we get an extra attack. This is when the build really comes online, and you get your racial feat. So I'm a drow, I get darkness. Level 6, we get another feat. It's pretty obvious what we're going to want to take up. So strength up to 20 is flawless. Now, if you do use the Hag's Hair, you can stagger your stats a little bit differently. So you could put you could add strength at 17, use the Hag's Hair to make it 18, and then use your first feat to take that to 20, and then your second feat to put up Constitution. Or you can put up Dexterity for more initiative, but I think that Constitution is really the main one here for just your increased health and survivability. So we're going to go with that there. We do get lots of feats as a fighter, which is nice. At level 7, we get some more superiority die. And then we're going to take our Disarming Attack. So whenever you do Disarming Attack, you can do a ranged version and then have a teammate pick up their weapon. You want to make sure that you take the weapon so that they're just useless at that point. So that helps a lot. Rally can be useless, but I'm going to show you how we're going to get Rally without having to use a superiority die. And yeah, I'll have that near the end of the video. I think that Pushing Attack is another great one. So spend a superiority die to make an attack, deals 1d8 damage, and possibly pushes the target back 4.5 meters. What makes this nice is the ranged version, so you can sit up there and go boom boom with your hand crossbows, and if someone's near a ledge, goodbye. They're gone. So it's really powerful. Disarming strike and pushing attack are great. Rally or precision attack is also a really good one. So spend the superior die to add it to an attack roll. If we took Great Weapon Master, that kind of goes hand in hand because we need to have that increased hit chance. But I didn't take that yet in this build, so it does have usefulness for increasing your attack rolls. Now, I had someone comment on a previous video saying that this adds to your damage rolls, and it doesn't. Attack rolls means your chance to hit, so just want to clear the air on that one there. But yeah, at level 8, we'll get ourselves another feat. And this time we can go with Great Weapon Master, so this can be pretty crazy. When you land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee weapon, you make another melee attack as a bonus action that turn. Attacks with melee weapons you're proficient with and holding with both hands can deal an additional 10 damage at a cast of -5 attack roll. So less likelihood of attacking and hitting, but a plus 10 damage, which is pretty great. So we're going to go with that just because the flat out damage that increases is phenomenal. We also get Indomitable, so whenever you fail a saving throw, you can re-roll again. It's just flat out great to have. At level 10, this is where we do get a couple more superiority die, and it increases the dice to 1d10, so that's fantastic. Now, I like precision attacks nice to take here, because if you find you're not hitting your strikes, that can make it a really useful way to hit your attacks. I guess the other ones that you could go with would be like a commander strike, so direct an ally to strike a foe. The ally uses a reaction in their next turn to make a weapon attack. It's a passive feature, so it does use an action bonus action. It can be decent. Sweeping attack can allow you to hit multiple people at once, which typically weapons are going to have the ability to do that, but if we're using late game the Amulet of Baal, sometimes it's best to be able to just get in on turn 1, do a sweeping attack, and apply bleed to multiple targets. And again, I said we're going to get Rally. You can take Rally because additional 8 health points is good, but the point of using Rally is to bring up downed allies. So if someone goes down, you can use that to bring them back up. So we're going to take Precision Attack. Maneuver and Attack is good if you want to increase movement. You can really go whatever you want for this final one. So attack a target with advantage, deal an additional 1d10. This uses your bonus action as well, so I don't love using anything that uses both actions there. Strike a target, give an advantage on their next attack roll. Yeah, it's sweeping attack, not the best, but being able to attack in that wide range and then also apply statuses like bleed is really effective. So we're going to go with that, but you can take something else if you prefer going with other options there. You're just not going to use them as much as the menacing attack. Now, level 11, that's when we get our improved extra attack. That's really the main focus of this build. We want to have 3 attacks per turn. Now, this doesn't leave us a lot of room for picking other spells. So you could alternatively take in 12 intelligence and add it in wizard to get globe. I guess you can't get a globe of invulnerability, but magic missile for just early game damage, or being able to hit targets 100%, and then also shield to increase armor class by 5. But I think that it's best actually to add in the cleric and the war domain cleric in particular, because then we can use bonus actions to make an attack. So that's pretty good. Bonus action attack is fantastic. Guidance and resistance for cantrips, and you can even go with like Blade Ward too if you want, because you're not going to use Sacred Flame for damage. Even though it does 3d8 radiant, it's not worth using. Everything else is better. Even Produce Flame if you want to like set up explosions is better. So we're just going to go with the 3 resistances there. War Domain also gives us a concentration shield of faith, which gives us +2 armor class, and since we don't have many concentrations, may as well use it. And then we also get Divine Favor, which is another concentration to add damage riders, which is nice. You can go with whatever deity you want for roleplay purposes. Now we get the slots for 2 spells. Now, Healing Word, you can see it's only a 1d4 plus 1 heal, but this is like Rally. So if you have a teammate that went down, you can use this upwards of 18 meters to bring them back up. What's nice about that is you don't have to run over to pick them up and use an action. You can literally just use a bonus action and do it from a distance. So it's really, really powerful. Now, I personally think Sanctuary is a pretty great bonus action, so you and an ally cannot be targeted until you harm or attack a creature. It can be pretty useful. Bless is also really nice. So bless up to 3 creatures. They get a 1d8 to attack rolls and saving throws. I am a personal fan of Creator Destroy Water. If this is provided you have someone that can deal cold or lightning damage, because you could have your fighter set up Create Water outside of combat, Create Water, because it won't initiate combat if you use Create Water, and then you can have your sorcerers blast away, and then you can run in and attack. So, Creator Destroy Water if you have an electric focus or cold focus team, Bless if you have no one else that does Bless, and Sanctuary at the minimum. So that's that for the Cleric. What's nice about this is we do get some extra spells, and even though we're not a spellcaster, it's just good to have something like we can pop in. We only have 2 spell slots, so pop on Shield of Faith. That takes our armor class up. Bingo, bango, bongo. We got an increased armor class, so that's really nice. And you can also even do like something like Blade War just to set up for 2 turns. But the typical way that we want to go about doing this is we have our own self heal, which is nice, but I guess I'll get into gear. So we can go for crit fishing, and crit fishing means we're going to be adding all the gear that adds the hit, an increased chance of hitting a critical hit. So that'd be the Dead Shot Bow, which gives you that -1 to the number you need to hit a critical hit is reduced by 1. You need to roll a 20 to hit a critical hit. So this means 19 or 20. And then with this one, it means 18, 17. And then there's some other gear that we can equip to increase the critical hit chance. But yeah, that's one way about going about the build. I like the Helm of Baldur. Gives you 2 health points to start a turn, +1 armor class saving throws. Cannot be critical hit and cannot be stunned. So it takes our armor class up to 26. And then the Shade Slayer Cloak's nice just for that increased critical hit chance. But you can also go with something like Cloak of Protection. Takes our armor class up to 27, which is fantastic. The Armor Pertinence reduces all incoming damage by 2, and you gain resistance and Blade Ward. So wearing this will give us Blade Ward without even having to focus on it. So resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So we take half physical damage. That's just nice. And then we also get a 1d4 to saving throws with this on. And then with our Shield of Faith, we also get the +2 armor class. So that's pretty good. We also advantage on proficiency in Constitution saving throws, being a fighter. So our concentrations are less likely to break, which is nice. Gauntlets of the War Master. So targets have disadvantage against saving throws against your maneuver and weapon attacks. So when we go in with different weapon attacks like Topple the Big Folk, so deal additional damage equal to proficiency bonus on hit, large, huge, or gargantuan creatures take an additional 2 to 12 slash. You must succeed a strength saving throw or fall prone. So when we use our weapon attacks like this, they're more likely to hit. So the strength saving throw, they're not likely to get. So things like this will give us bleed. And then our battle maneuver. So the Frightened, which is awesome, we have an advantage of hitting. And then we also, as you can see there, melee attacks 32 to 51. So our melee attacks are quite strong. You can see that they're pretty powerful. Now, the only reason we're going to be using sweeping attack is for setting up, if we have the Amulet of Ball, setting up the bleed on first hit. Because you do have some other options like Cleave, which is going to be a little bit higher damage. But yeah, menacing attack 32 to 51 damage and potentially frightens is fantastic. The pushback's nice. The prone is nice, so you get all increased chance of getting all those with the Gloves of the War Master. Earlier in the game, Gauntlets of Surging Accuracy, when you use Action Surge, get a 1d4 to attack rolls for the rest of your turn, so more likely to hit when you use Action Surge, so that can be nice early game as well. I also think that the Helldust Gloves are great too, so your weapon attacks deal an additional 1d6 fire damage, and your unarmed deal 1d6 necrotic and possibly inflict bleeding. So with the Helldust Gloves, we're just going to add a nice damage rider of fire to them, which is pretty nice. There are some other gloves that you can go with, but I think that the Gauntlets of the War Master, being one of the best targets of disadvantage against saving throws on your maneuvers, is fantastic. This gives a +2 to attack and damage roll with weapons, so the Legacy of the Masters is also a great choice. Go with whatever one of those you find earlier in the game. Evasive Shoes, +1 armor class. Baldur's Giant Slayer, which is the best great sword in the game. On hit, double the damage from your strength modifier. This weapon gives you advantage on attack rolls against large, huge, or gargantuan creatures, so you're going to hit any large foe with this. And then we also get a nice little boost with the giant form. So this last 10 turns, you can use this, and then you become huge. So that's cool to be able to just walk around with your big old sword, being taller than Minsk for 10 turns. Now, mind you, that will wear off, and yeah, it's pretty good, to be honest. So, I also like using the Goner Mail here for the bow. So, this can give us self-haste. So, this does require concentration, but this gives us another action. So, we can go attack 3 times, use the action surge, attack 3 more times, and then use the War Priest charge to be able to attack a third or 10th time. So yeah, 10 attacks, and our attacks can deal like 50 some damage. This is pretty broken. So yeah, even with like the giant form too, we get the temporary health, advantage on strength checks, and weapons deal additional 1d6 damage. We want to add as many damage riders as possible, so I'm using the Ring of Protection here and Killer Sweetheart, which just gives you a critical hit. Fantastic, and then Amulet of Ball. But we can also alternatively take on the Constitution Amulet to give us 147 health. There's some other options that you can go with, but I think Amulet of Ball or Greater Health are great at the end game. Earlier in the game, take whatever works best for your build. The Surgeon Subjugation Amulet is pretty good to get early on in Act 2. But yeah, that is the Battlemaster Fighter build for in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a very, very powerful build and can completely shut down the game. So yeah, if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.